Twice Shy by Dick Francis. It's pretty good. I quite enjoyed this book. I can't lie. It kind of lost me in the middle a good bit, I'll honestly say, because it is like a 300 something page book. And it was fine. You know, okay, well that makes it sound like it was like not as good, but I enjoyed it in the beginning and the end, but it just kind of dragged in the middle for me personally, you know? I don't know, let me see how many chapters it is specifically. I know that doesn't like matter the most, but just for my own curiosity. Yeah, it's 21 chapters, 307 pages. And it's pretty good. You know, obviously there's gonna be some spoilers for the book, but it basically follows two characters. In the first half, it's this guy named Jonathan Deary, I think is how you say that last name. And then the second half is his brother, William Deary. And then it pretty much deals with like conflict of like horse betting, or like the horse, like the jockey races or whatever. You can clearly see that on the cover. And it was pretty good, honestly. I feel like I should say the same shit every time. But it's like, in the beginning, there's some like good stuff with like Jonathan and his wife. And then like she kind of like, what does she do? She's like frantically like packing a bag, and then she's like telling him like, oh, we gotta go. And then like she doesn't tell him why, you know? And then he pretty much is just like, yo, I'm not going anywhere unless you tell me where we're going, what are we doing, why are we leaving, you know what I'm saying? And then basically like the chapter ends with like her being like, yo, my friend just like got arrested for like stealing a baby. And I feel like the book does really good with like creating tension and then like giving a good payoff at the end of the chapter, so then it makes you want to read another one, which I enjoy that, because I'm not like, the chapters didn't feel long, but it's like I definitely don't prefer books with longer chapters. I prefer shorter chapters, honestly. That's just me though. And then the middle, it deals with more like, I don't know when it takes place exactly, but like they deal with like cassette tapes and like old computers and like this guy's like system for like kind of like having a highest, like the best possible, what's it called? Not results, but like the most likely outcome for like who will win like the race, you know? And then like obviously bet on that person, make good money, you know? And then like he basically had the system that like Jonathan, the main guy in the first half, had this system in like these cassette tapes that you just pretty much like, I guess sort of like analyze like all the different people and the different races and stuff and like their like history, and then pretty much make like a smart bet, I guess. And then the sort of antagonist for the whole book is this guy named Angelo. I'm sure he has a last name, I don't remember it. And he pretty much is just like trying to get these systems, you know, because obviously he wants that money, you know? So he's pretty much just like antagonizing him the whole time. At some point he like kidnaps his wife and like said friend once they like go on vacation. That was pretty juicy. And then like Jonathan goes there and like saves them, and then it's like pretty good. And then Angelo goes to jail for like 13, 14 years. And then that's when his half kind of ends. And then the second half is William. I think that's his name. I read that like a couple days ago and I already forgot. And then pretty much it takes place like right after that like time of like 13, 14 years of him being in jail, Angelo. And then it kind of shows like William and his kind of like where he's at, and just like from the story from his perspective from here on out. And then Angelo's back, I guess. And he pretty much, what does he do? He pretty much just like, oh yeah, before Jonathan's thing ended, no, during William's thing, he like goes to the person who made the system or whatever, and then he pretty much like tells that person like, yo, let me get a copy of that with those cassettes. And then the person, I think his name, I don't even know what his name was. And then he pretty much like tells him like, yeah, I'll make you a copy. And then William's like, thanks. And then he takes that copy and then he gives it to Angelo. because Angelo's like back, and then he's like, yo, take this copy, take this like betting system, and then leave my family alone. That's pretty much what he does, you know. And then Angelo, you know, he takes it. He's like, cool, you know. And there was like a point in it where like, this is a horribly structured telling of the book, but like there's a part where like William kind of like kidnaps Angelo because like he comes in and tries to like kill them, I'm pretty sure, and he pretty much like captures him. Like William just throws Angelo in like his cellar and just kind of leaves him there for like a couple days, and then he lets him go with like the systems if he promised to like leave his family alone, which he kind of does. But then like the betting system that Angelo was using, that William got from like the original guy, it turns out it was like a phony, faulty version, right? And then Angelo was like, yo, you gave me a faulty version. And then William was like, no, I didn't. I got it straight from the original guy. And then William like called the original guy or something. And he was like, yeah, I gave you a faulty one. And he was like, why would you do that? And he was like, I don't really remember the reason. I don't remember the reason. And then it's pretty much near the end of the book. And then Angelo, what the hell happens? Oh yeah, Angelo goes to like William's house and then he shoots him, like straight up shoots him. And then there was a pretty good last couple chapters because William was just like, yo, I'm dying, like I'm gonna die. And then William wakes up a little bit later in like a hospital, and then like Angelo's at the same hospital, and then Angelo like doesn't have any like memory because like I think he hit him with like a baseball bat. And then pretty much it just kind of ends there. And I thought it was pretty good, honestly. It did kind of drag in a little bit in the middle for me personally, but as a whole, structurally and like beginning and end, and having like the Jonathan and William halves of the story, I think it made it more digestible, I guess, which I'll always appreciate in a book. So I'll probably give it like a, you know, on a rating scale, probably like a really comfortable 7 out of 10. Really comfortable 7 out of 10. That'd be my rating. And that's that book.